This episode of I Am Besties is brought to you by Airbnb. 1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up, besties? Welcome back to another episode of I Am Besties. As always, I'm your host, Stephanie.
And I'm Vanessa. We are joined here with the beautiful Ana Sheila from the Tamarindo podcast, a well-being enthusiast and mindset coach. Thank you so much for joining us. We truly love having y'all here. I'm a little nervous.
Yo también, yo también.
You know what I
We need a shot of tequila.
Hell
Yo,
no.
where's that? Where's that?
Pull it out.
I was like, I'm your guest. I was expecting.
We just
hosts.
offered her some water. That's terrible, you guys. We need
one's
to
ours,
step
right?
it up. Yeah. That was a gift from a guest, so let's do it.
So, can you bring us a shot glass?
Waiter.
Hey, I love it.
We normally do take a shot with guests, but
Oh, you normally do it. You normally don't.
we normally
normally don't. This is the first time.
No. I feel like we normally try to get a feel of like who the person is, and then we're like, do we get the vibe that they take a shot? You know what I mean?
Here.
Okay, so I gave you the vibe rápido. Thank you. Los voy a pasar.
Thank you so much.
Vanessa's usually the one that offers.
I'm always drinking by myself.
Yeah.
No one ever wants to take a little shot with me.
No?
And it's just a little one.
I'm taking
Okay,
one
are
because
y'all-
it's
are
good for
y'all-
your heart.
It will not hurt. Come on.
Tequila or mezcal?
Ooh, what's the difference? Can you
Really?
please educate me? Please educate me, because to me mezcal I just thought was like a brand.
No. Mezcal kind of tastes like tequila, just smoky. But
It's a different. Okay, now I'm gonna sound like I know what I'm talking about, but it's I think it's a different distillation process.
Okay.
So they make it differently.
and it's stronger, I think. Actually, I'm
Pues,
100% sure that some of
mezcal
them
is
are
stronger?
Yeah, I think so, because I've taken 2 shots of mezcal
And you're done.
and blacked the hell out. Yeah.
For real? Así tan rápido?
Yeah.
But I also feel like you don't really drink as much.
But this was when I was like hardcore
hardcore
alcoholic.
drinker? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
And
okay.
that's weird because I don't really drink that much, but with mezcal, I swear it's como agua. I'm
Damn.
like, that's how you
Maybe
know it's
then
in
there's different tolerances.
Maybe-
Because
Ooh.
hello. I'm a tequila girl.
Do y'all
to be
ever
honest.
do a dance to that to the ringtone?
So, not really. Honestly, I hate it. I hate
Yeah,
the sound.
that's
I'm like, turn that shit off.
It's like trauma from like being woken up. You're like the alarm, like turn it off.
Oh my god, probably, but I have the alarm, so I'm just like,
Y'all, you haven't set your own like little sound for your alarm?
I
never done that?
didn't even know you could do that.
I bought 2 songs.
You could buy songs. now?
I only bought I only have 2 songs and I bought them so that I could have my own
Alarm ringtone.
Because
Yeah.
I was like, this alarm clock just sounds so harsh. Like,
Yeah,
I wanna
yeah.
And so I have like what do I have? I have a Bad Bunny song.
Okay,
Okay.
bet.
I feel like I would just not wake up. Like it would play in the background of my dream, and I would just be like,
Hey, baby.
Yeah.
That's happened to me before.
My song is what is it called?
sing it.
The Museo, and it's The Museo by Bad Bunny. I don't know if y'all know this song.
Oh,
It's
then
not
I
as
don't know
popular,
that
but
song.
I don't know.
it goes, pasa el tiempo y yo sigo aquí. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Because like, I'm like, pasa el tiempo and I'm still.
I'm so
pasa-
bad.
That's genius.
Anyways.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank
Wait,
you.
can I teach you? You know how there's like para arriba, para
Yeah.
abajo?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. A new
A
one.
new one.
Okay.
Okay. So the end is different.
Okay.
So it's para
Pa' arriba,
arriba, para abajo,
abajo,
para
pa'l
el centro, sexy movimiento.
Hey.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
All right, y'all, I'm going to sip on it. Is that cool?
Oh.
I'm a sipper. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you should have told us that before.
Pues se pueden servir poquito más. Oh.
Why does this taste sweet?
Dude, not me. This being a smoothie, and I'm over here taking
Is
shots.
that water?
No, it's a smoothie.
It's a smoothie?
Why
It's-
so much?
Why so much?
Because I didn't have time to eat.
So
I
are these like 3 meals in one or what?
No, it's one meal. Like I didn't have lunch. I had lunch. I didn't have dinner. And I knew that I was going to come here and I was going to be hungry.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I'll just have a smoothie and then I'll eat after.
Okay.
But it's a replacement meal kind of protein.
Okay,
and then I
gotcha.
put power green, spinach, blueberries, strawberries, my creatine, some collagen
I
in
love
there.
that. Okay, you're working on them gains. I see.
Yeah, I definitely
Ooh, yeah.
am.
She's a gym girly.
I'm a
Yeah.
gym girly.
I'm aspiring gym girl.
So then
Love
I want to
that.
ask, what does it mean to be a well-being enthusiast?
It means that, okay, so what I care most for myself and then ultimately for others, I want people to be as well as possible, as free as possible, and as in love with life and each other as possible. That's what I like
So
to say.
it pretty much involves everything. It's not just like your health.
Yeah, I mean, because health means so many things, right? It's like physical health,
right,
it's emotional health, it's like mental health. And so everything that I do centers around the well-being of all those aspects, mind, body, you know, not to get cheesy, but like mind, body, spirit, you know?
And, not cheesy at all.
Yeah, and like I've been doing it, I'd say for like 6 years now that I've been in the kind of the wellness space and like a variety of different ways.
Okay.
And it really came from like my own sort of like issues growing up, like just, you know, a lot of people pleasing, a lot of living for others, a lot of defining success based on like external like external sources instead of really me thinking about what does success actually mean to me. A lot of hiding, like I'm queer and I was in the closet for a really long time. So kind of what like the process to finally accept myself, to love myself, and then to feel comfortable being myself, right? So I want everybody to be free in that way and to be able to do that, right? So like everything I do kind of comes back to, and also the last thing is I was very much I'm an overcoming I'd say a recovering overachiever, recovering people pleaser, recovering perfectionist. I very much was like trying to be I'm an immigrant and I was trying to be the perfect immigrant. Like I felt like I had to put this mantle like Mexicana, like I have to be the perfect Mexican so that people can like say that I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like and you know, it helped me get far, but it also did a lot of damage. And so now like I do a lot of work around self-worth and helping people feel like you're just enough for just
that is so beautiful.
I love that so much. I resonated a lot with the explanation you give of being a well-being enthusiast, because I feel like I very much as well moving into the space of caring about my health, about my mental health, my emotional health, like regulating my nervous system, learning how to do that, learning how to be a better friend to others, a better friend to myself, have a better relationship with my parents and everything. And I never really put a name to like, or what that could possibly mean or what it could be. But now I'm like, I feel a little inspired. I'm like, oh my God, what if that could be me too?
Yeah,
How did you move into being a mindset coach? When did you decide, okay, this is what because do you do it for a job, I'm assuming? Like, do you?
Yeah. So I do. Okay. It's like executive coaching, life coaching.
Oh, okay. And
I have a workplace wellness company. También. So we do like workshops. We do coaching, both individual and group coaching. And also do como wellness strategy design. So helping companies like think about what their wellness like strategy is for their employees.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Oh, okay. That's really nice.
And how I got into it actually like because I actually had a health injury. You know, it's sometimes, you know, like these big moments in your life.
Yeah.
And like those big moments, I really love to say like those big moments, like really moments where you're really down low, breakups, things like it's really important that we don't. Those moments can suck, right? Really low moments can suck. But the thing that sucks the most is if you go through those moments and you don't actually change from them, if you don't learn from those dark moments. Because at those dark moments, when you really have nothing else, it's like all you can do is you're your most raw self.
You're making me so emotional right now. I'm not even going to lie. Like, you really are. Only because, oh my God, I was taking a shower today and I was like, okay, like, I feel like I've really been listening to the universe and I know we just met, but I just feel like it's so random to me that like today I was like I'm going to be better. Like I'm going to try really hard and I'm going to be like pretty much just get up every day.
Yeah.
And I was in the shower and I was like, okay, like how can you be better? Like I don't know, but I have to figure it out. And I feel like it's so weird to me that you're just saying all this just because it's things that I was already telling myself. Yeah. So hearing it from someone else that I literally just met, you know what I mean? Is so I feel like it's like the universe being like, okay, like you said it and you've already put it out there. So like, and I'm like bringing you people that are going to help you kind of guide you there. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Sorry. Oh my God. That was so fast.
I mean, tears are like, you know, they're healing.
Yeah.
No hay nada que decir for. There's no reason to.
I think
tears.
it's just
beautiful.
It's because I think when you said like, you know, you need to change. I feel like I've been trying to hold on or kind of like look back and find like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I lost myself. So who was I, or like, how do I get back to that? And today I was like, I don't want to get back to that. Like, I feel like I've already like so much is happening to me that clearly I'm either not learning something or I have to continue to evolve because trying to go back is exhausting. Like it's really, really hard because I don't even know who that person is anymore. So I wouldn't even know how to get back to that.
Yeah.
So
you're a different person.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
You know what it is? Sometimes people like, they're like, oh, I lost myself, and they're trying to get back to you're saying like get back to, but you can't get back to something that you're not anymore.
Exactly.
But what you can do, what are those things about who you were What are those things that you love? Like, what are those?
Yes.
So focus on those and then incorporate those to who you are now.
Definitely. I think I've just been like, okay, what didn't I like about myself, and how moving forward am I going to, I guess evolve and change into something better than, because if I already didn't like it, there's no use in me complaining and sitting if I'm really not going to work on it.
Yeah.
So that was really beautiful. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I don't
No. Yeah, but so my sort of like dark, or not, it wasn't dark, but it was like an awakening moment, is I actually like woke up one day and I had this like crazy head pain. Like I had never felt any pain like this before. I would like get up and it felt like somebody was drilling into my head, and it took like a month to figure out what was wrong with me. And I thought, I was like, oh my God, what if I have a brain tumor? Like I'm gonna die. Like I really thought I was gonna die. I'm here, so
It wasn't that.
It wasn't that. But yeah, I ended up having this it's a long mouthful, but a spontaneous cerebral spinal fluid leak. So for some reason, something happened. I don't know if I fell like working out, no sé, but like my spine was like leaking. Like, and we have this fluid that runs from like our brain down through our spine. I didn't know this, but like our brain floats in this fluid.
Yeah.
And the reason I had so much pain is because it was leaking. So my brain was like, I was feeling the pressure of my brain.
Ooh. Like it was almost like a drain.
Yeah, like I was
sucking.
feeling the heaviness because my brain didn't, when I would stand up, my brain didn't have enough fluid to
float
in. Yeah, so
that is so scary.
So during that time, I had to be on bed rest because I didn't know what was going on, and then they actually made me lay down they're like, okay, we can try to close this up, but like it's gonna be kind of a potentially really sensitive procedure. So before you do that, we're gonna ask you to try this. You have to stay laying like flat, like completely flat, like you can't go to the bathroom
horizontally.
Horizontally. Like I couldn't like even sit up, like I had to stay fully like this for a week. And they're like, we're gonna try that. I had to like and see if it closes on its own. Like sometimes it does, so we want you to try this. Yeah. And so like I went to my mom's house, and like my mom was living with abuelitos, so I was like praying with them for the rosary. I was like, I learned how to meditate, and this is when I learned how to meditate. I hadn't learned how to meditate because I was kind of scared of it. And I realized I was kind of scared because I was scared of being still with myself, because I was scared of what would come up when I was still. But I was like, well, right now I'm gonna do all the things I believe in, all the things, whatever I didn't believe in, now I believe in all, and all the religions, whatever it takes,
whichever God is out there.
I pray to all of y'all. But yeah, so that was the first time I literally was like still. And I think that's what made me finally pause and be like, and at that time I was in tech, because I was like, oh, tech, like that's what like makes me a lot of money. But it's the first time I really stopped and was like, why are you actually doing what you're doing, and who is this for, and what do you actually want? And then so I started, and that's when I finally asked myself these questions, and I started to sort of come back to myself, and that's when I started coming into wellness, and also now like more creative stuff too, that I realized that's what I wanted when I was little, and I just got away from it. So sometimes it takes like those big moments for you to actually like think about what it is that you really want. But hopefully like it's also getting better at paying attention to yourself, so you don't need those big moments. And that's what I've been working since then. It's like I don't need to wait for these crazy moments where there's nothing else but for me to, it's like you can start practicing paying more attention to yourself, and like listening to when you have tension, when you feel off. Like those are little signals that our body and mind are giving us.
Yeah, like my friend once explained to me that that life gives you whispers. I think he said Oprah talked about it. I could be wrong. Y'all can check. But I guess she talked about how life will give you like little whispers, and they'll start off small, like you said. You can listen to yourself when the whispers are small, and if you don't, eventually life will give you bigger whispers, which I can imagine in your scenario translated to your big health scare. Yeah, and that's crazy because normally for someone that's not aware, they would see that scenario and think like, wow, like that was scary, you know, my life was threatened, I could have died, and probably not learn anything from it. I just got lucky and just moved on with their life. But being aware, you can see, okay, this was something for me, an opportunity for me to reflect while I was laying down and learn about myself and make the different decision for my life than, what I've been wanting to do at the moment. And that you knew deep down it probably wasn't for you. Like you said, as a kid, you had different plans for yourself, and you eventually came back to that. So I feel like I've been resonating with that too, when now big things happen to me in my life that I feel in the past I would think of like, oh, this is really bad, or I'm never gonna, come out of this. You just kind of have like a existential crisis over like big things happening, and it's like, no, now I get curious. Now I get curious. I get, okay, I know this is tough emotionally, physically, like mentally. I know this is hard, and I know it feels like I want to give up, but there's this duality. There's this also like experience happening at the same time where I'm like, okay, I'm also excited though and curious about like, what am I going to learn from this? What am I learning from this? What is this trying to tell me? How am I going to grow from this? Because thinking back now with the awareness that I have, I always get through the tough situations and I always learn something, and I'm excited for what this situation is going to bring me, from what growth I'm going to have from it. And looking at life that way is, it kind of takes off the pressure and the stress and the worry that comes with situations, because no matter what, you're going to be okay, and or you're going to learn something from it. And I love that. And I wish everyone listening could take that from what we were just talking about, because I know it's easier said than done, of course, but starting with small things, like you said, like life or your body will show you, and there'll be little tensions, there'll be little clues here and there, and obviously picking up on the small things will help you pick up on the big things. So
exactly, I love that. And I love two things I want to highlight real quick about what you said is like the curiosity is like such a big word. It's like you don't have to be like,
anxious or scared, or
it's like, let me be curious, and just like softening the way that you look at things can change like your ability to actually get through them. Like if something feels like I have to, but you're like, let me be curious about what's going on here. That actually helps you get through it a little bit easier. I love that.
How did you like, going from that, how did you decide like, okay, how do I make this a career for me?
So I think I just, once I sort of noticed like, okay, I want to start moving in this path, I think it's just about getting clear about like what it is that you want, and like opening yourself. And once you start getting more clear on what it is that you want and opening yourself to it, like it really starts coming. Like, people say that, but it really, like, you start seeing the opportunities because now you're looking for them. Exactly. Before you weren't looking them. When you're like on the road and you're like, oh, a ver cuántos, like when you like, oh, let's see if we see this car or something. And then you kept seeing that same car. It's like the same thing. It's like once you open yourself up, you start seeing. So then I ended up like this was back in like when people still use Facebook, but like I saw a college friend of mine who posted on Facebook, and I was like, oh, I resonate so much with what she just posted. And so I reached out to her and was like, I'd love to connect. And then that's who I ended up. And so she invited me into the workspace that she was in, the work that she was doing, and we reconnected, and we just had similar values. And she's like, hey, would you want to help me? Like, I'm trying to design this stress program. Would you want to help me? Because in tech, I was a product manager, so I would help think about how to design products. Right. And she's like, oh, well, perhaps you can apply some of that to like what I'm doing here. And so that's how we originally like linked up with her, and then we ended up like starting a business together.
Oh, amazing!
Oh my God, I love that. And it makes me think about this video that I saw. He calls himself like an alchemist, he just spreads wisdom with the world. And he talked about one of like the biggest pieces of advice that he gives people is like, he was saying, imagine you get a scratcher today and you win $1 million, and obviously $1 million in this society is like huge, especially for like middle class, poor class, So he was saying, imagine you get those $1 million, but when you call to like claim your prize, they tell you, okay, we're not gonna be able to give you your money for like another week or 2 weeks because it's a big amount. So we need some time for it to clear and everything, get everything in order. But like you'll get your money in a week or two. And he was saying, how would your energy and like your vibe as a person and your outlook change in those 2 weeks? It would change so much because, in a sense, you're not going to have any stress. Well, like, let's say something happened, like you got a flat tire or in that week, or whatever, you got a new unexpected bill. How would you react? You wouldn't be stressed. You wouldn't be worried about it. You would feel like it's going to work itself out, like, because that money's coming your way, right? Like, that you have that money. And he was saying you can apply that to life in a sense. You don't have to know that you're getting $1 million, but you just have to have this knowing, this belief that it's going to be okay, that the way life is unfolding in front of you is going to work out for your best benefit always. And you just always have to, it's like this knowing, this belief that you have to have, and you have to hold on to it, and you really have to walk in that faith for like you just said right now, like you just decided you wanted that for yourself, and you started getting the opportunities, being clear, setting intentions, and believing, and looking for it, and that's what will happen. And I feel like that those two like little stories like align, because obviously it wasn't $1 million for you, but for you it was, I know I want to work in this. I know I want to do this. So you just kind of like believe that, and you were like walking in that, and look at where you're at now. Literally, like
totally. But it doesn't mean that like everything's gonna go your way.
No,
of course it's gonna happen when you want it to. But like, if you think about it, if you're bringing in the energy that you already have it, or bringing in the energy that you're gonna have it, like of course that's gonna help you actually get more than if you're believing the opposite.
Right?
You know? So no matter what, like that kind of energy is gonna help you. And one thing I feel like that's sort of like my biggest lesson, que está como un poco related, is I really think like how can I embody what it is that I want? And that has been like what's been most life transforming for me. Like if I want love, like can I be love? Yeah. And like when you and I've noticed, like I really was like, how can I actually? Because I was like, I really want love. I want to be more loving. Like I'm like, okay, pues like be it. And of course, and that doesn't also mean you're not all of a sudden gonna be like, okay, now I'm gonna be the most loving person. But if like you commit to that and you truly embody that, then you start seeing how everything around you, like the people around you, start like. You get love when you are loved, and that's been the biggest. And the same thing with abundance, everything else. If you are embody that, like I've really seen it like happen. You really 100%. Get that.
I believe that too. Like how they say like you have to vibrate on the same frequency in order to like attract it easier. And it's like if you weren't vibrating on the same frequency, not to say you won't get it, just maybe not as often as if maybe you were kind of like in tune with that energy. You know, damn, it's really good.
Good
stuff, y'all.
I guess, like, in what situation do you think most people look for a mindset coach? Because I feel like it's one of those things, kind of like a life coach, that feel like, you know, I've like, me personally, I've only ever seen like super rich people have like life coaches like that. And I always not super correlated it, but I would be like, okay, I guess this is like the middle class, like the rich upper class version of therapy or whatever, you know?
Okay. Yeah. So when do people looking for it?
Yeah. Like, I mean, how do you feel like people find you? Not necessarily on social media, just like how to really connect with you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like when you know, like you have been. I think it's similar to like when you finally like seek out a therapist, right? It's like when you know, okay, like I have these goals, I have these things I want to do, but I'm still feeling stuck.
Okay.
Like, what is it? Like, I'm still not making the kind of progress that I want to make, but you know, you have these, like, you've been wanting to do something, you've been wanting to start something, or you've been wanting to change your life, right? But you're feeling like you feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck. And I think that's the time when you're like, okay, pues porque no, why haven't I been able to start this? Why haven't I been able to do this? That's a really good, that's when a lot of folks come to me. They're like ready to make changes, but for some reason they're struggling a little bit. And same thing, like different than a therapist, what a coach is going to do is going to help you like actually like set goals, you know? So
as a Latina queer immigrant, what do you feel like has been some of the biggest blockages you've had to overcome in order to be the person that you are today?
I mean, just feeling like not enough, feeling like I couldn't be myself.
Not worthy of the things.
Yeah, and I think I started hiding, like, I was like, I knew when I was a teen, but I didn't come out for a long time because I was very religious, a lot of things, because I felt like I wanted to be the perfect whatever. And for me, like being gay felt like that didn't sound against. Like I was not perfect if I was gay, you know, that felt, because I was taught that it was something bad, right? So of course I didn't fit into. Yeah. So
are you the oldest? My bad. Are you the oldest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Oh, damn! And then adding that pressure.
Yeah.
And then, my dad was kind of like a third child sometimes, so I felt like I had to be having younger brother. So I felt like I was like, oh, I gotta be responsible for my mom, porque si no tiene tres hijos. So I have to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think. I feel like I had to hide a lot growing up, and so then it meant that like the journey to finally being myself and being bolder, como que me costó más. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I feel at the same time, it was probably really rewarding, you know, to feel like you overcame so much and that it didn't come easy to
I think so. I think that like whatever adversity that we have and we've overcome is like really is a strength in the future, right? Yes. We can help you get through future adversity.
100%.
Right? You were saying earlier, like, you know, I can do this. You're like, I know I can do this because I've done this. I've done hard things, so I can do more hard things, right? So 100%. Unfortunately, but we're like more resilient, right? Of course, we wish we wouldn't have to be resilient, but like, you know, it does help us. Like,
it's like when they say, when you ask God to make you patient, He's not just going to give you patience. He's going to give you scenarios where you have to learn to be patient. Yeah, 100%.
Just give it to me.
Yeah.
When you think about your healing journey, you know, regarding growing up with like Latino household, did you ever feel resentment towards your parents? Or do you feel like, because I know there's different, I have different friends, right? And for me, I feel like resentment definitely came up a lot when I was healing my relationship with my parents. A lot of anger. And I've met friends who have been on their healing journey, and I could even say that their experience was probably worse than mine, but yet they never really experienced much anger and resentment towards their parents. I could tell that their relationship was more smoother than the one that I had with my parents. They still remained very close through adversity, as opposed to my family were very like scattered, and I'm like trying to fight right now to get us all back to being close, you know, because it's something that I really want. Do you feel like you guys were close growing up, or do you feel like you guys were like not really close? Was that something that
we were close. We were close to like a certain extent. Like we did a lot of family trips. Like we spent a lot of time together. Both my parents were teachers actually, and so we would have the summers. Okay. Well, when we first moved, my mom was able to get a job as a teacher. My dad didn't know English, so he was working in like factories and stuff like that. Okay. But eventually, he learned enough English to be a teacher.
Oh, that's really nice.
So we would have the summers off. So we would like
amazing.
So we would go on trips together and things, which was really cool. So we spent a lot of time together, but at the same time, I feel like we didn't really talk about like deep topics. And I feel like that's a lot of us, right?
No, 100%. It's so funny that you say that, because I've always felt like my family was close, but I don't know anything about my brother. Like I couldn't tell you his favorite color. Like I know like general stuff, like his favorite soccer team and whatever, but I don't really know him. Like truly, right?
Yeah, like what are those his deep fears?
Yeah, what have you got? Like I even like things that he's gone through. Like he doesn't know anything about me. I don't know anything about him. And sometimes I wonder, because I'm like, we spend so much time together, but sometimes I'm like, why are you the way that you are? Like I have no idea, because we don't have that connection. And it's funny that you say that, because that's how my family was. Like every summer we would go to Mexico, like sin falta, every single summer, like we would drive there or like fly or whatever. And I think back and I'm like, was there any moment where we were actually like
really connected?
Deeply connected?
Yeah.
That's a hard pill to swallow, honestly. For me, at least in my experience.
Yeah, what was it like?
It was a really hard pill to swallow, to know that there wasn't really any deep connection. I know it was the best that my parents could do. So that was a big thing that made me able to forgive the experience I had growing up. But it's kind of a hard pill to swallow, to know that the deepness that I crave now as an adult is something that they weren't able to give me at the time that I felt like I yearned for. And now I'm trying to kind of accept them for who they are, because I know I can't force them into change either, which has helped a lot, to kind of just see them as, you know, a byproduct of their upbringing as well, you know, of their environment, and not be like resentful towards that. But it is kind of especially when you're already creating deep, meaningful relationships with other people that truly see you, truly validate you, truly love you and know you, and then you go to hang out with your parents and it's like a completely different, it's like, you know, you're talking to them and they bring up stuff that you feel like, you know, it doesn't matter, like chisme, or, you know, or just make comments that you feel like are inappropriate, or, you know, just things like that. They're just like, you just sit there and you listen and you're just like, wow, like I have so much love for you in my heart, but I don't resonate with so many of the things that you say. But yeah, I love you and I want to spend time with you, and you're the parent that God gave me, and, you know, I have my boundaries, but at the same time, like it's so hard. Like I still struggle with that.
Especially because go for it.
Yeah, dale.
I just think like it's funny that you said it, because they're the people that you love the most, essentially. Like the people parents, your number, no matter what, like they are your number one. Like I don't know, biology or whatever, but they're just always those people. So to feel like I don't even know you is scary. Because you know, I think parents too, they're always like, oh, yo te conozco mejor que nadie, and I'm like, what are you talking about? But in a sense, sometimes they do, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like this is a weird connection we have going on, because I don't know you, you know me, but not really. And then because my mom was always like prefieres estar con tus amigas que conmigo, and I'm like, no, so like I was always like, well, I don't really know how to talk to you without you know getting like punished or whatever over stuff that to me felt normal, but to her, because she didn't grow up like that, she was like, she always reacted with anger. So I'd be like, man, like I want to have that closeness and I feel like I do, but also like I hate having to lie to you.
Scared.
Yeah.
But Mira, I think what you said earlier, like understanding like our parents are the byproduct of like their generation and how they were taught. I think it's a really good starting point to have compassion for them. And like we still have the rest of our lives, right? Like, so there's an opportunity still to build closeness. And that's what I've been focusing on. I unfortunately lost my dad a few years ago, but now with my mom, she like later told me, she's like, I wish we would have been friends, but I was so scared like you, because she was very traditional. And so I was hiding that I was queer. I only wanted to tell her like the good things that I did. I didn't want to tell her like what I was struggling with or when I hit the, like when I hit the car on the garage, you know what I mean? And so like, I've been really focused, even though it's felt so uncomfortable for me to create more of a deep, close relationship with my mom. Like it's been I've been so intentional about it, working through discomfort, because I'm like, I know it's worth it. And I've seen so much growth in our relationship because I've like really been investing in like, it feels weird, but like really try, like open up to her. And it's been like, I've been really pleasantly surprised with like, oh shit, like my mom, like she's so wise. She's such a chingona. And she really has been giving me really great advice as I've gotten older. So like our relationship has really deepened, but it's taken work and getting past like discomfort.
That's so beautiful. I feel like I'm going through the same journey with my mom because I lost my dad last year. And I think she's definitely finding herself as a person. And I feel like she's now understanding like why I've been wanting to be, I guess, not like crazy, but I think I've always been more like, I want to go here, I want to do this, like very like free spirited almost. And I think she's in her like eat, pray, love phase of her life where she's like, who am I? Because
she's attached to her husband and her kids.
And like now she doesn't have a husband and her kids are all grown up. So I think she's definitely like in a transitioning phase where she's like, okay, who am I as a person, not just as a mom and not just as a wife. And it's been really nice, I think, going through that together of both of us being like, okay, we're women and how do we navigate this like now new world and life we're living in, and how can we do that together? It is really hard though. It is really, really hard because when you do clash, you kind of feel like, oh God, where do I turn? Like, who do I turn to? Because you're my mom and I want to turn to you, but I gets really, really not toxic, but it's just overwhelming sometimes.
Especially because I know you've been trying to choose different ways of responding to her instead of reacting, right? You don't want to. We've had conversations where you're like, I don't want to speak to my mom in the same way. I don't want to, carry on with her in arguments in the same way, right? So I feel like that makes it harder because, your programming is like, like I want to freaking yell at you. I want to, just
and that's how we've always been. Who can yell loudest? And
literally.
okay.
But to know that you don't want to be that way anymore. It's like you have those two like truths, I guess, in a sense, like fighting at the same time too. Who's gonna come out on top, and it's so draining, but I'm proud of you, friend. Like, I truly feel like, we've had a lot of long conversations about, the kind of person you're becoming and the kind of person you're being with your family and your friends. And I truly commend you because I have seen the change. I've seen, like, I've been with you for a lot, and I feel like you've grown so much.
Oh,
Stop it!
Can we insert some cute music?
Us looking deeply into each other's eyes.
But y'all, speaking of family, like what is a trip that y'all remember that you took that's like really memorable?
Steph, you go first because I feel like you travel way more than I did.
Oh my gosh. You said you're from La Ciudad de Mexico, huh? I actually took a trip when I was younger. My dad's family, they all rented a big bus. And because my parents have both like 12 siblings. At the time, I think only like a few of them went, like 4 or 5. But we rented like a big old bus. And we went to La Ciudad de Mexico. We went to like Ciudad de Mexico. We went to Guanajuato. We went to... Oh, I can't remember. But I remember at the time it was really chaotic because I think that many people in a bus, like it was just so hard to find like a place to stay and everything. But I love that trip because in the bus we almost crashed and my little nephew flung from the bus all the way to the front and just like smashed hard. But at the time it was scary. But now that we think about it, I'm like, dude, that is hilarious. Like he was just rolling through the bus. And it was scary. But I think trips like that are really memorable. I think it's funny that you said, I think you mentioned earlier that you would drive to Mexico, which is crazy, which is like a 2-3 hour, 3 day
3 day
trip.
We only did that once. We drove from Riverside to to Mexico City.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
Y'all can never again.
No, because we would drive often, but we're from Nayarit.
Okay, my mom's from Nayarit.
No
from
way.
From Tepic.
Shut up. Saul's from Tepic too.
For real?
Oh my God. I love meeting people from Tepic.
I'm going next month, actually. Yeah,
that is so cool.
My mom, just me and my mom actually are going to go.
Oh my God, I just took Vanessa.
She just took me. It was really fun. It was so gorgeous. The rainforesty, like greenery vibe.
Very tropical.
Yeah.
But did you go recently? I hope not. It's that recently because it's really hot right now.
No, we went.
Yeah, well, I go all the time. I like live
April.
half and half pretty much over there.
April?
We went.
Okay, that's a good time.
Like April, like around that to March.
Was it? Yeah, somewhere around that time. It was really nice when we went, but we went for one day.
Oh, okay.
But it was still like so eventful because literally the moment we landed, Stephanie was like, "Let's go here, let's go here, let's go here." Let's go. We went everywhere. We did so much.
Yeah, I'm over there constantly, to be honest. Like, I'm going next week, I think.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually go, well, I try to go once a month because I have an uncle who lives out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but I really love it. That's so funny. Have
Yeah,
you been before?
Yeah, I've been going my whole life.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So, yeah,
okay.
like both, we would kind of split between, sometimes visiting my dad's family in Mexico City and then my mom's in like Nayarit. So now we have a house that we also Airbnb in a town called Lo de Marcos, which is 45 minutes from Puerto Vallarta. Okay, you know that area.
Oh my God, maybe we rented it because we tend to Airbnb a lot in Mexico.
Okay.
A lot. That's so funny. We probably crossed paths like 1,000 times.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going next month. But yeah, I'm excited. It's just gonna be just me and my mom. So that's gonna be cute because we haven't taken like a trip just the two of us.
Amazing.
So I'm really excited about that.
You haven't how long is your trip gonna be?
Like a week.
Oh, okay. And are you staying at your Airbnb or?
At our
Oh,
Airbnb.
yeah.
When did you become an Airbnb host?
How long has it been? Like 2021.
Oh, okay.
So kind of fairly recent.
Yeah, so we have two. So me and my mom and my tia, they built a house in Nayarit, in Lo de Marcos, that they Airbnb. I mean, it's for us, but then we
definitely.
But of course, it's like
often,
really nice to be able to Airbnb because we're not like we're going all the time, so it's nice to be able to do that. And then we also the house that I grew up in, which is in Riverside, we Airbnb, and that's the one that I host.
Oh, okay. Amazing.
Yeah. But it's been so lovely because it's nice to feel like it's still a home that we can go back to. And this is a home that we moved, like we used to live in. When I was growing up, we lived, I'm from Mexico City, then I moved to Chicago, and then we moved to Riverside. And then, so that's the house I grew up in, and like our first house that we really like owned. And so my dad planted like árboles. My dad used to love to garden, and so he planted trees in the backyard. And so like, literally his trees are there. And so it's been nice, like since we've converted it into an Airbnb, like before we used to rent it out to tenants, but it's been nice because now it's really, it feels like we were able to finally decorate it. Because before, like we didn't have it, like growing up, my family didn't have as much money. So our furniture was kind of like all como, like there's colors and like, it wasn't really cohesive. So then me and my mom, when we were like, okay, well maybe we can do this because none of us were living there anymore. So like we were like, it'd be nice, but we still have family like kind of in the area. It'd be nice like if we could actually come, like when we're all visiting, like we could actually meet here and this could be a place that we can be at and we can finally decorate it like kind of nicer. Yeah. And so Airbnb, I feel like it's allowed us to like keep it nicer, and it's we're able to rent it out to other folks, but when we want to go,
you can also use it.
And it's cute because I can go and like be in my backyard and like connect with like my dad's like his trees, so like that feel like his trees are
his
like
essence is there,
a part of me, but still like it's really helpful for us to have that kind of like side income to help with like for me to pay for my rent or other little things. So it's
do you have the little guest like notebooks? I love when they leave like little notes like, this was my experience here.
I feel like I've done a really good job as a host. I'm a super host, which like for people that don't,
what does that mean? Please explain.
It
for
means
the viewers
that like the rating is 4.8 or above. It means that I've hosted, that we've hosted. I forget how many, but like a lot of people have stayed at the home. Like I'm a good communicator. Yeah, and it's been cool, really cool because like I used to be a product manager, and so like I really care, and also like the work that I do, I really care about like people experience. Like whatever that I'm working on, I want people to have a really good experience. And I feel like in a way with the Airbnb, I also really try to do that. Like I want people to go and have a really good experience, feel like they're taken care of, and we really like our home to feel like not too crowded, so it doesn't feel like too stuffy, pero that we like still feel like como a home, like away from home in a way, kind of minimalist, but a little bit homey. Like we keep it stocked and like so people can actually cook. Because I hate when like you go to places and you're like, it's nice to have enough stuff so that people can actually like and do stuff. So like So
I love that.
But there's definitely ways that I can still like like make it even better. So that's like something I've been thinking about. ¿Qué cositas puedo hacer? Like whenever I go to an Airbnb, I like I take notes on like, okay, what I
enjoy about this place. Oh, I love that. That's actually one of my favorite things when they mention stuff about staying at an Airbnb, when they have a little book where it's like one that I went to one time actually had a little Polaroid camera next to it.
Oh,
and when you open the book, it had everyone had little family pictures of like their stay and then like a little like description or anything they liked. And it was so sweet to like take a picture and add it to the book and like add what we had, like really fun. It was actually a cabin in Big Bear and it was snowing and it was honestly just a little getaway, but we didn't have to drive too far, in like an hour and a half from my house. And just being in that warm little cabin, so small, like the fire going, and it was so cozy. I love, like you said, when it's not your house, but it still feels like home. And that's what I love about staying in Airbnbs, that it just feels like I didn't leave anywhere. Like I needed to get away, but I'm still home. If that makes sense. Like it doesn't feel like I had to travel or do anything crazy. Like I'm home, and it was such a nice experience. I was with my son and with his dad at the time, and we would go outside and like we're having snowball fights and we're creating little snowmen, and they'd come inside and we're watching a movie and we're all cuddled up by the fire, and it was I loved it. It was honestly so sweet. And like you said, having all the amenities, like being able to cook in the kitchen, not having to eat out. I love to cook. I don't cook because I have to. I feel like genuinely cooking is one of my love languages. I love to make food for my family, my friends. So when it's always super honestly important for me to stay somewhere where I have a kitchen available.
Yeah, like I was gonna ask about your Airbnb in Lo de Marcos. Like, do you have kind of like a like, what kind of vibe is it? Is it like more, I guess, traditional, like Mexican home, or is it more chic?
No, it's more. It's kind of like a mix, like como beachy Mexican, kind of minimalist.
Okay. What was it like? Like, I guess, because I mean, essentially, it's a business. So how do you feel like it was? Because I think when starting something like Airbnb, it's kind of scary to, I guess, transition into that, because you're like, how do I even,
or any business in general.
Yeah. Like, how do I transition into that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be like and starting anything new can feel overwhelming. But I think that Airbnb's done a lot to make it easier for hosts to get started. And then but also, like, I connected with a friend who was doing it, and he was doing it in the city in Riverside, and so I was like, hey homie, like,
help me out.
And so he gave me like a lot of tips and like made it feel like doable. And and like, so once I got that, and then just using the all the tips that Airbnb has, and like, it's definitely been like a learning process, and like to get to where we're at now. But yeah, like now I feel like, I feel very comfortable with it now. So it feels very cool.
Do you tend to travel a lot too, or no?
Yeah, kind of. I've been traveling so much recently.
Nice.
But yeah, where did I just go? I was just in mostly for like a lot of like Latino like events, because I have the wellness company. I have a podcast, and so they're like, we get invited to like things sometimes. So we were just in Aspen at this thing called
Aspen.
I know, it sounds so fucking. I'm sorry, y'all cuss on
Yeah. We try not to at the beginning, but we usually fail.
Like hella bougie, but like the whole thing about the event is like, let's take up space in places like where normally we wouldn't be.
Yeah.
And so it's called Raizado Fest, and it's a convening of like different Latino leaders across different industries, como creatives, philanthropists, people in the community.
What did you say it was called?
Raizado.
Okay.
Raizado. And so I do it in Aspen. And it's just it feels cool to be like, hey, look at us like taking up space in this city that I never thought I would be going to. But it's like, you know what? You just like, we deserve to be here. Yes. We deserve to take up space. And so I got to do that recently. And then I'm going to, where am I going? I'm going I'm going to Nayarit.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to Phoenix. My family lives in Phoenix right now. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so there is a lot of traveling, but I feel like I'm getting better at it. I'm not that. Sometimes I'm like, how do people pack light? I keep having to check a bag.
By the little suction thing.
Is that what everyone does? Because I'm like, how does everyone fitting so much into their little bag for like a bunch of outfits? Like, how's everyone wearing 5 outfits and have a carry-on?
And I watched the videos of like how they organize, and then I try to do it, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I cannot. I'm the same way. Like, I cannot pack light, but I don't know. I guess I try. I take a lot of little bags.
Yeah. Well, I try to travel with Delta because I have a Delta like credit card or whatever. Okay. So they give me a free check bag. So then I'll always
hell yeah.
Because I'm like, well, like si no puedo, like, and especially because of my curly hair, like. That's a whole other thing, like, like,
other products and stuff.
Dude, because check bags now are like, some airlines are like $50. Really that's a shit ton. Like, that's literally $1 per pound.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's because they're charging for everything, but
Yeah. That's cool. It's funny that you say about taking up space. That I went to Paris once, and this is very uncultured of me, and I'm sorry, but I literally found a Mexican spot that sold like burritos, and that's all I ate. Like, not all I ate, but I would tend to like, it's like 1 a.m. and I'm like, ooh, like,
what do I want? I want a burrito.
I want, like Mexican food.
It's just, and you seem to crave it more, right, when you're like away from home.
Yeah, that's true.
I really want to I want to go to the best Mexican restaurant in Southern California. Ooh. Where is it? Because I was living in Mexico City for 2 years. I just moved back to LA.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I went back home. That was cute.
Aw. Did you like it? Like going back?
I did. I loved it. I feel like my Spanish got better, and something I realized about that was like, I feel like, I don't know if y'all, it's the same for y'all, but Spanish was my first language. Same. And I can still consider myself to speak well, because I kept speaking it with my parents and all that. But I wasn't like perfect, because I grew up here. Right?
Yeah.
But so like going back there and improving my Spanish, I feel like it reconnected me to a part of me that I had kind of lost a little bit, like, because that's the language I learned to like, that I was first loved in, like,
oh my God, that is such a sweet way to think about.
Yeah. And so getting better with my Spanish and feeling more fluid, and even I got to the point where I would think in Spanish, I'm like, oh, this feels like me for real now. And so now I speak a lot of Spanish because it makes me feel like more than I used to, because not because I can't think of the word, but because it just feels good to be speaking in both, because then it feels like a fuller version of me.
Right now when you said you were even thinking in Spanish.
That was a good.
That has never happened to me.
When that happened, I was like, okay, I just unlocked a new level.
What? I'm a little sad now. I don't think I've ever had it.
Start now, baby girl.
I'm moving to Mexicali next week.
Spend a little time there. But that was really beautiful. And my dad was from there, so like my dad passed away. So like that was a strong like push for me to get out there, was to be able to connect with him and my family that I have out there. That used to be kind of like strangers, but now they're like actual friends too, like act like real friends, so it was really beautiful.
What's funny, I think I never realized that people didn't speak as much Spanish when they would like, I guess, like migrate here, because my mom was always like, a mí no me estés hablando en inglés. Like my mom was like, no, like we speak Spanish here, bitch. I don't know what you're speaking out there, but in here you speak Spanish.
Yeah, so she really enforced that, and
very,
that's super important to really maintain it. And like, no judgment to anybody who's like,
no, of course
wherever
not.
you are with their language, but I feel like that is like how you have to do it, or it's easy. It's real easy to lose it. Right?
And I have we have a family friend who she speaks only Spanish, and her children speak only English.
That's insane.
They understand each other, of course, but they respond to each other in like different languages. And I think they were the first introduction to me of like, I guess like the quote unquote no sabo kids, because I had no idea. I thought, if you're Mexican, you speak Spanish. Like that was always like to me. Yeah. So, but I didn't know that, like, I guess even just like the transition of like, well, you're going to speak English and in school, so just start speaking English or whatever. And then it wasn't until like my little brother, where he was kind of struggling on his Spanish, but because he had me and my older brother, where we only spoke English to him anyways.
Yo, isn't that weird? Yeah, I speak better Spanish than my brother, even before I moved to Mexico.
Yeah,
but because I was I moved a little bit older. We first moved in Chicago, where they did teach us in Spanish.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like they still had bilingual education back then.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, but my brother, so he got less time time in Mexico. So yeah, my Spanish has been better. But it's interesting that like, when we were little, we spoke to each other in Spanish, but then we got to a point where we switched to English, and now it feels weird, probably for you too. Like it feels weird to speak to my brother in Spanish, but with my mom, I only speak to her in Spanish.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
It is.
My little brother, my older brother and my little brother, they both got into a phase where they're like, I really like banda and corridos. So they kind of learned through that, through music, because they were like, oh, I really want to be like bien mexicanota, and I'm like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Are y'all on the trends, the música regional trends right now? Who are you actually listening to? Or
I'm not even gonna lie, I'm on a Grupo Frontera.
I love
vibe,
Grupo Frontera.
like hard.
Same. I love corridos tumbados. I love like Eslabón Armado.
You like Nathaniel?
Who?
Nathaniel Cano?
Yes. I like him. I like Daniel Lux. I like his music. I like Peso Pluma too. You know, I'm in a kick.
You're definitely music-wise. You're definitely more than me. I was always a pop girl. Yeah. Like I like Paulina Rubio and like Dalia shit like that. But I was also like very like romantica. Like I like romanticas. Yeah, like I like Intocable.
I
love Intocable. Yeah, like those
Pancho Barraza.
Yeah, I was listening to Pancho Barraza yesterday too.
Yo, but it's crazy that like how this but like how this music has blown up on mainstream in a way that it never had. Like I was at the gym, like I think 2 days ago, Eslabón Armado, right? They were on Good Morning America. Yeah. And I'm like, I never expected to see this because I feel like for a long time, like this música, I feel like it was looked down on.
Like the borrachos.
People didn't want to admit that they liked it. Like it was a bad, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's been really cool to sort of like change how like
we're being accepted more in bigger spaces. I think it's really nice too.
Yeah, because I feel like music industry wise, it was always more like for Latin America, it was more like Colombians, you know, Karol G, Maluma, and then like. It wasn't so much like reggaeton.
Mexican music didn't get a lot of love. Like on a bigger
I feel
scale.
like in reggaeton it was really just like Becky G, you know, it wasn't that like Mexicans at least. And I feel like with because even I think Ice Cube made a song with
¿Con quién? Even Ice Cube did?
I don't know if they made a song, but he for sure made like a TikTok. I think it was Banda MS. I don't know what it was.
Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg did a song with Banda.
That was good. That was a good
song. I love that song.
He's actually a fan. Like he's a fan. Which I really appreciate. Like he's
yeah. So I always thought it was crazy.
Pluma too. He performed in the VMAs, and it was the first time they ever let a Mexican artist perform.
Ever. Can y'all believe that? Like
it was beautiful. The beginning was so beautiful with like the
violins and like the mariachi and everything.
I saw a little clip.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Let me show you because truly I
watched a lot of video clips and I saw part of his performance, but I missed that part.
It was the very beginning where it transitioned to a song. It was with like it was a mariachi or no? What was it?
No, I don't think
like an opera, kind of like
kind of
like opera vibes, but it was like all violins and like cellos and stuff. Like it was really really gorgeous.
What the heck?
No, yeah, I loved it because when I was young, I did like Hispanic music, but when I remember being like in middle school and like early high school and being like
were you kind of shy about it?
Not that I was shy, because I do feel like growing up here in America, I've always did prefer English music for the most part. So I just never really cared. Like if someone asked me like, what music did you listen to? I would just say like the English, even though there were a couple of Spanish artists that I really liked. I don't think I did it purposely, but I just felt like there's no point in sharing like more, you know, it's just like they don't know what this is anyway, you know, so I just only said the English. But it's been nice to see now, like my sisters, they're younger, they're 18 and 19, and they've always repped like the Spanish music, and I've questioned them like, oh, like in school, like do your friends listen to it, like what's the vibe now with like music do you guys listen to and everything? And she's like, dude, we all like Latinos, they all rep like reggaeton, like música regional, like, you know, corridos, like banda, like everyone is like they're about that, like sin pena, they're proud, like they love it, and that made me so happy too. Like I was like really happy. I was like, oh, I love that, you know, that they feel like they can just be who they are and not get clowned on, you know, like, because even from my own raza, you'd get clowned on, you know, other Mexicans were clowned, oh, you listen to that, you know,
that's what I remember growing up, like it was
from your own people, so it was very hard to kind of feel proud where it's like even your own people is telling you shouldn't listen to that, or you're making jokes. So it's nice to see that the scripts for sure have changed and everyone's more embraceful and proud for sure.
Yeah.
Culture.
Let me shit like.
Oh my God, yes. Wow, I love that. Ooh. I love that.
Yeah, it was so good.
Oh my God,
don't even listen to Peso Pluma like that, but I was like, oh my God, that like I feel like for being the first performer, that was such a good, I don't know, introduction. It was amazing.
Don't worry, girl. I'm gonna put you on to Peso Pluma. There's some really amazing music in there that I know
She's
you
like,
love.
maybe.
Okay, I will give it a try.
You know, I like his song with yeah, I love. Yeah, I mean, they did that song together, right? Yeah. But I'm a bigger Grupo Frontera fan.
Yeah, I'm more of a, like I said, like I'm more of a romantica kind of girl. Like I want to feel loved or like just like insane heartbreak.
I can see that. You have little heart eyes.
Yeah.
Me and my mom want to go to a Karim Leon concert.
He was just here.
I know we saw, but
dude. But again, even Karim Leon, I'm only listening to his like heartbreak songs. I'm like, they're so good. I want to yell. Like,
wait, what do y'all think about Yahritza y su esencia? Because they had some drama.
Yes.
Can you give the rundown? Please.
Yes, I can give the drama.
No, go for it.
So basically, they're música regional band, right? They've been popping off, really popular both here and in Mexico.
I think they're from Washington.
They're from Washington.
Yeah.
They're very young.
Yes.
I think she's 16 or 17.
Oh, she's 16?
Yeah, she's super young.
Very young. And I think the other two are also like not as young, but very, very young. So they were recently in Mexico City and they were doing an interview and they were asking them like, ¿Cómo te gusta Mexico? Like, how y'all doing? And basically, she said, I think at one point, oh, like, it's just a little loud. It's a little loud here. Like in Washington, it's so quiet, but here I can hear like the sirens and all these things. Yeah. And then the boys, they were talking about how they don't really like Mexican food that much and they don't like spicy food. They're like, oh yeah, I like wings, but I don't even like them spicy.
Yeah, they're like, I like the sazon better and like over there.
Yeah. So basically, it was just like a bad interview, like to be in Mexico and to be kind of throwing shade on like the Mexico City,
culture, the food,
and the food when you are a música regional band.
Exactly.
Pero mira, they're young. Like, I feel like they represent a lot of, I feel like their experience sounds like a lot of Mexican American teens.
100%. Like, how are we going to get mad at them for being honest?
Yeah. So, like, I feel like Mexican Americans, you could hear that interview and be like, oh, shit, la cagaron, right? La cagaron, but I get it because y'all are teens. Like, there's other parts of the culture that you really enjoy, but, you're a teen, you're picky, whatever.
Yes. They love the music. Yeah. They didn't say nothing bad about the music.
But if you can imagine, like Mexican fans in Mexico went in on them hard, like a ton of backlash. Like I think they just were like, okay, pues y'all are Mexican, you're like creating Mexican music, but how Mexican are you based on like some of those answers? So like, I can understand. I feel like I can understand both sides. Like,
of course,
I can understand like why Mexican fans are upset with them. Like se están presentando como música regional band, but you're like not that. They're probably thinking you're like not that Mexican or whatever. And like I can also understand. Like I mean, no sé, están jóvenes. So like I feel like a lot of us can give them a pass, but like Mexican fans in Mexico are having a hard time with it. But the backlash has turned even more sort of like now very negative to the point where they're like also being kind of racist.
Super racist. Like
and that's like what's fucked up.
Yeah. I think more than anything they're young.
Yeah.
And clearly they don't have a team that's helping them.
PR training, image training.
They popped off really fast and they could have obviously like used more help in this.
And I think Mexico tends to be very, very, very resentful. They're not even critical, resentful.
Yeah,
like,
they're very they go
like they make a point and they're like, we're not moving from this. This is your fuck up.
They're like they take it very personal.
Yeah.
And I think petty.
And not gonna lie, like what they were saying, I think I guess the way they said it was not the best. But like you said, like as someone who travels back and forth so much, like I understand what they were saying. Like obviously, like they're louder, like el gas, like all these sounds that you just yeah, like I didn't take it in a bad way, but I like you said, like I can see both sides. I just think that we're being a little harsh on them because they were on stage and
extremely.
They booed them off stage.
They were just in Mexico City and they booed them off stage. I think it was too soon to bring them back.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I'm not surprised by that reaction.
Yeah,
but it's really fucked up because they're being racist at this point. Yeah, like con el nopal en la frente, y no saben, or like how they look indígena, like all this stuff is where they're
not even that. They were making like memes, like putting them into Apocalypto, like their faces into the Apocalypto characters. Movie. Yeah, which I thought like I'm like, you guys are being so hypocritical. Like you're if anything bashing the OG like not even Mexicans, just natives of the land.
Right, because that's not a bad thing. But that's but I mean it points to the anti-indigenous
like,
100% that exists in Mexico and that a lot of us have internalized.
And I think it's tough because like they're seeing them as like full like born and raised Mexicans. Like, no, they're like Mexican American. Like they literally live in Washington, babe. Like you need to take that into consideration. I feel like a lot of people think that sucks about now, like just social media and being on platforms and just being out there in any kind of like creative way, in a big way. It's tough because a lot of people just feel something, and they like, at least a lot of like fans or, you know, just people in general that just watch and they get carried away. You know, it's like they feel just, you know, offended, or they feel angry, or they don't feel represented, or their idea of something is shattered, and immediately it's like, let's attack, let's bash, let's judge. And it's really, really, it's sad. It's sad because it's not, I mean, it's crazy to me how, because I myself included, I know I was like this one way too, when like you see someone making a mistake and we're quick to like come for these people, but when we make a mistake, we want mercy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We want mercy. We want people to understand. We want people to be compassionate. We want people to give us the benefit of the doubt. But why are we so quick?
Why don't we show up like that for other people?
Exactly. And I think and it's sad to say, but it's like, I feel like a given there. I'm sure that Yahritza and Cesar is going to learn from this 100%. You know, just we were talking about earlier, this is going to be a learning experience from this. They're going to grow from this. They're going to, I know they're going to do better moving forward. So.
And they still have a lot of fans out here, like that are not going to hold, that are not doing what the Mexicans out there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually a fan. I wanted to go see them. I really like a lot of their songs. So.
Yeah, she is amazing. I loved her even before they put out her song. I know she made the Que Agonía song with
She did Frágil con Grupo Frontera.
She
oh
did.
My God, Frágil is so good.
That's a good song. Like, I just think she's so talented. Like, why are we bringing her down? Yeah, she has so much talent, and I think it kind of reminds me of when, oh my God, what's that actress? I can't remember her name.
What was she on?
In Roma?
Oh yeah, come on, we got it.
Yahritza?
No.
Yahritza. One's Yahritza.
I know, now we're getting confused.
Yeah, we're confusing them.
Yahritza, what's her name? Aparicio?
Let me look it up, because...
Is it Yahritza? Dang, now I think we're
getting... Yahritza Aparicio. Yeah. It reminds me of that, when like she was nominated for an Oscar, and you know, like a bunch of interviews of like like Mexican actors, like in a dinner table, like talking shit about her, like, oh, pinche prieta, and I was,
my God,
dude, I was so mad.
India.
Yeah, and like the wife of the actor was like recording, like just like herself, and she got caught up, and it's kind of reminding me of that, because I feel like, not to bash Peso Pluma or anything, but I think if he were to make a comment kind of in that level, I don't think everyone would be as harsh on him. Yeah. Because, he's more fair-skinned and whatever.
Let's identify, like, the white privilege that
definitely.
has, and, like, that probably has gone into him blowing up the way he has. Because, you know, like, traditionally we had other people looking different, older, more, like, you know, whatever. Yeah. That were in this genre, right?
Exactly.
So he's coming in looking fresh, young, white.
Yeah.
Like, there's like definitely a privilege there.
Yeah. I think that's why I'm like, I'm a stan. I'm not going to lie. I defend them. And even like when I went to Mexico, all my cousins were talking about it, and I was like, shut the fuck up. Everybody shut up. Like, they're children. That to me is more than anything. Like, they're so young.
They're so young.
Yeah. And I hate, because they were like, oh, but the older brother. I'm like, the fuck your older brother and fuck their older brother. Like, if they couldn't help each other, then they couldn't help each other. But like, they're going to clearly learn from this. And they tried to apologize too. And everyone was just like, fuck
But you know what? There's some people that were here that didn't even know about them before, and now they know about them.
That's true.
Working in their benefit, you never know.
No bad press.
No such thing as bad press.
What about Bad Bunny and Kendall Jenner? What about that? Is that no bad press?
I think that
love is love.
No, I don't believe in love. After Raúl and Rosalía broke up.
Oh my God. Listen, as long as Angelique Boyer and Sebastián Rulli stay together, love is alive for me forever. They are my, like, I am their stan, mommy and daddy. Like, I love them.
I love Eve Mendes and
Ryan Gosling.
Yes.
Oh, they're so
sweet. Them. Even though they're super private, I mean, give us a little more. I wish.
Can you see your babies,
please?
I want to know what their babies look like. I bet they're beautiful.
You know what I love about them, though? That they name them like...
they give them Spanish names.
They give them Spanish names.
Really?
Yeah.
What are their names?
Esmeralda and...
Oh, look at you knowing their babies' names.
I am like... Are you? I'm invested.
I thought I was a fan. Never mind.
All the couples.
I'm a big Ryan Gosling fan. I'm not going to lie.
I love Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. I can't remember their other babies'
He was good
name.
in Barbie. I was surprised.
Dude, he
I was like, dang, you could do everything.
I wish he looked a little younger. But
I get it. I get it.
It's because I'm sorry. But it's a little CGI wouldn't have hurt.
He's probably like 40. But to be fair, Margot Robbie's super young. She's no more than 30.
But Margot looks amazing.
No, she's older.
Yeah.
No, Margot's young.
She's pretty young.
But she looks good.
He's in his 40s.
Yeah, he's for sure like. And he sings. Did you guys watch La La Land?
Oh my God, La La Land!
Oh, it's amazing.
Please watch La La Land, please.
Yeah, Margot Robbie's 33.
Okay, 33.
She's super young.
Yeah, I was a little, not gonna lie, when I saw the trailer and Ryan Gosling, I was like,
but he did a good job.
He did, no, of course, phenomenal. But Ken, Ken's a cutie. He's like, you know what I mean? I was like, a little younger, I'm
a stan, bro.
But I still think he did amazing.
But I think he still looks good though. He looks very handsome.
He did.
I think he's. I think it's his essence because physically, his face is not for me.
No,
not for me.
But his personality just ties it all together.
Yeah. Actually, I know his kids' names because I like to watch like Oscar acceptance and like
the interviews
like the speeches they give, and he gave a speech to his wife one time because he was just like literally dedicating the award to her because he was like, oh, if I didn't have you, because her brother had just passed, and he's like, literally without you raising our children and dealing with everything, like I wouldn't have been able to do this without you. Like this is for you. And then he dedicates the award to like her brother, and he mentions by name his children, and I remember he said it like Esmeralda, and I was like, I love you so much.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, that's cute. They're cute.
I need me one.
No, for real.
Like that.
What you want?
Honestly, I've always been obsessed.
Tell us the characteristics.
No. I've honestly always been obsessed with William Levy, girl. You know William Levy is?
Yeah, of course.
Who does?
I've been watching him in the novelas since
Dude,
I was little, girl.
Steph thinks he's ugly. She always tells me.
I think he's so ugly. I think he's so ugly.
Dude, I've always loved him.
But again, there's something. It's not that like he's just not for me. But to be fair, like when I was younger, I was always super prietita. So I was always more into the brown people in the novelas.
For me, 100% for sure.
Yeah, like even in Alegrijes y Rebujos, like you know how they're doing a reunion. I don't know if you guys Alegrijes y Rebujos. Like it's like it was like
a novela.
It was a little kid novela, and they're doing like a nostalgia tour pretty much in Mexico with like Cómplices al Rescate and
I know
like
that one.
Atrévete a Soñar, like the Divinas and stuff, like a whole concert.
Oh wow!
And his name was Alcachofas. If you guys haven't seen it, he was brown and he was a protagonista in a kids novela. So to me,
and he was your little crush.
I was like, holy shit! Like
I'm in love.
Little brown skinny man. Like that's and it literally stuck. Like my type had always been like brown skinny men. Like that was it for me. That's when I fell in love.
What was your woman crush?
When I was little? Penelope Cruz.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Her lips, her essence, her eyes.
Yeah, her eyes, I think.
Her body, girl.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah.
And she's a good actress.
She's so good.
Amazing.
Have you guys seen Vicky Cristina Barcelona? If you haven't, you have to watch it.
I've never finished it, but she is so good in that. She is so good. That's with Scarlett Johansson, right?
And her husband now.
That's her husband now?
Javier Bardem. Yeah.
No way. Scarlett Johansson's husband or
No, Penelope Cruz's husband.
Oh,
it's
no
Javier
way.
Bardem. They've been married for a minute now, but they met. I know this. So here's where I know this. When I was in college, I watched this movie called Jamón Jamón. It's like a Spanish movie, and it was Penelope Cruz's first movie ever, and she was in it with Javier Bardem. But they didn't get together for like another 15 years.
Oh wow!
But they were in this movie together, and they both look. If y'all. It's kind of raunchy. It's kind of ridiculous. Jamón Jamón. It's from the early 90s. I actually recommend watching it, even just to see Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz, because they look amazing.
And they have a lot of chemistry.
They have so much. It's fun. It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. But anyways, so they met way later. But but Penelope Cruz.
I love too that I think Latinos are. I feel like there's so much now in the movie scene of it. Like I think before it was a little bit not rare, but you didn't know. Like I didn't know Lupita Nyong'o was Mexican. I didn't know. I think I just told you the girl from Suits. She's Latina as well.
She's Cuban.
Yeah. Like I feel like there's so much on screen now that I wish I was a child right now and watching. I think I mentioned that before.
That representation.
Yes.
Yeah, for real.
Because I think like even watching Barbie, like I feel like if I would have watched Barbie as like a 13-year-old, I would have been like, holy shit, this is changing my life. Yeah.
Actually, speaking of, I mean, we're seeing more movies made. I feel like it's hard. We're starting to see more movies made, but at the same time, we're getting a lot of like pushback in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
Like people not wanting to invest now and like Latinos saying whatever. So that's been tough. But I recently saw a movie that I want to recommend. It's called Aristotle and Dante. It's kind of a long title. Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. And the studio, it's a Latino studio. based on a book by a Latino writer. The director is a trans woman.
You had a podcast episode.
We did, my last podcast.
Yeah.
And the director was incredible. I loved interviewing her. Her story is beautiful, and the movie is really beautiful. And it's like a coming of age film that two main characters are Latinos and queer in the movie. Okay. And I'm just like, dang, like I wish I had been 15 and had a film like that, you know? And so I hope that everybody sees that, whether you're queer or not. Like it's really about like you like discovering and accepting yourself. And I feel like that's such a like resonates with anybody that's like a teenager, right? Like
where really, can you find it on? What?
You can watch it's still in theaters, so like if y'all can go theaters right now, because it probably won't be on for that much longer.
Yeah, amazing.
But it's a really, really beautiful film.
I wish like Hispanic cinema was a little bit more, I guess, like available here, because sometimes I want to watch like movies in Spanish. I'm like, I don't even know where to start, like what recommendations, you know what I mean? I think every time I watched like a movie in Spanish, it was always a Spaniard movie. Mm-hmm. It was never a Hispanic movie. Mm-hmm. But I mean, at the time, like it was just like a Blockbuster, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't pick out. They didn't have that shit on there. You couldn't
be like, oh, let me like search, let me put in the filter.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Oh, but Eugenio Derbez is in this movie, and so is Iván Longoria. And Eugenio Derbez has been in a lot of movies, and it's been cool because, like, you know, he started his career in Mexico, but he's been, I feel like he's kind of become a Mexican American.
Yeah,
he's been here so long, and he's been doing a lot of films out here.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
He actually has that movie, and he has another movie called, I think, Radical.
It just came out, right?
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that. I was crying.
I haven't watched it, but I heard it was really, really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but the trailer was so emotional. I was like, oh my God, I need to watch this.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit. There's an old movie that's kind of on a similar premise. I don't know if y'all have ever seen it, because I think it's from the 80s. But I remember they made us watch it like when we were in school. But I'm glad, because it was a really powerful movie. It's called Stand and Deliver. Edward James Olmos.
Yeah, I saw it. It was really good. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of a similar like story. I think he's a teacher.
Trying to inspire the children.
I just saw TikTok of a guy. I just saw TikTok of a guy like asking like, oh, what's your favorite Mexican movie? And I like saved it, and I was like, okay, I gotta watch all of these. A lot of people said No Manches Frida.
Okay.
Like their favorite, like I think it was people living in Mexico, and they're like, oh, like what's your favorite like película mexicana?
Yeah.
And a lot of them said No Manches Frida. Personally,
I haven't
my
seen
favorite.
it. I haven't seen it.
I don't like it. I think it's a little
Mexican,
corny.
like from like in Mexico, or
it's with
Wait, let me look it up.
It's
a comedy.
It's a comedy.
Sounds like a comedy based on the name.
It's a little cheesy. Personally, I think it's too cheesy.
Yeah.
But there's a second one too. It's funny.
Oh no, I haven't seen it.
I think my favorite Mexican movie is A la Mala and ¿Qué culpa tiene el niño?
I haven't seen either of those.
Oh my God, they're hilarious.
You're gonna have to give me. I feel like I need a list.
I've seen ¿Qué culpa tiene el niño?
That movie is
I might have
comedy.
seen A la Mala. It sounds familiar.
A la Mala is actually with Eugenio Derbez's daughter.
Oh shoot!
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, I think I have seen it.
Who's in a show that I watched, De las Flores, something of that.
Oh yeah, Casa de las Flores.
Yes.
Did y'all watch it?
Yeah. I watched
Con
that
Veronica
one too.
Castro, who I'm like, she was the best part of that show.
I stopped watching it when they took her off. I only watched season one.
And that's how I realized, I was like, oh, you were the reason the show was so good, because in the second season, when you weren't in it, this shit.
It made no sense.
It was whack. I was like, y'all are stretching.
I think she wanted. I think she just left. She didn't want to do it or something.
But she was. I was like, I did not know you were so funny. Like,
yeah,
she was great. Oh, and she's in a new movie coming out too. I'll have to see what the name of it is.
You see what I mean? Like, there's just so much.
There's
like,
a lot coming right
so
now.
many.
But that's why. But I'm concerned because like we're making so much progress, but y'all know about the strikes and everything that's happening. It's like I think writers and actors are gonna start having a harder time making it in this space because of AI and a lot of other things. And so I'm concerned, especially for our communities who don't come from a lot of wealth, right? So like it's easier for a lot of white actors or like white people in creative spaces if they have generational wealth where their parents can really help them out and like, support them through it. But like for a lot of us, we don't have that kind of support from our parents, right? So it makes it harder to pursue these careers.
Definitely.
That you have to struggle in before you so much before you can actually make it. So that's why I'm a little worried. That's why I'm like really supporting like the strikes and just hoping that, you know, things work out well for all of our creative.
I feel like that's why too I want to get more into I guess Latino movies, because a lot of them are like independent films.
Yeah, and that's why we gotta support.
Yeah. So and it's hard because you don't, like I said, like if you're not in the cinematic space, you really don't know where to look for them. Yeah.
Like,
So
I still haven't seen. So I saw the one I just said, but I want to see. I still haven't seen Blue Beetle yet, and I want to see it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
Because also, like, you know, Latino director, I think, and writer, and the actor as well, and like they center the families that is Latino.
Yeah. If you guys have movie recommendations, like, please drop them in the comments. We would love to. You know, guys know me. I'm like a movie fanatic, so I love it. Yeah. I think the most impactful Latino movie like that I watched growing up was Voces Inocentes.
Oh gosh, somebody crying.
Oh my gosh, you have to. It is so heartbreaking.
Or like Bajo la Misma Luna?
Bajo la Misma Luna.
That one broke my heart.
Yeah.
Voces Inocentes. Who's
my god, it's it's about the Salvadorian War, I think. I think it's Salvadorian, but it's just essentially like about when boys turned 11, they would take them into the army. And it's just like about a little boy and like his journey through that, and like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. It was like one of those movies that I watched really young that I didn't really understand that much, but it was the first movies to make me cry.
Impactful.
Yeah, that's when I was.
You remember it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's so beautiful. I remember even sitting in the living room with my family and watching it and like turning and everyone just like sobbing. It's a really, really good movie.
I also too love that. I feel like now more than ever, people are starting to create their own films. You know, like with the rise of like YouTube and people getting into like videography and cinematography. Like Hugo, for example, my son's dad, he has like a camera and he creates like the most gorgeous like couple minute films of just like nature and you know beautiful. Some like little stories like that. But I also feel like we can create our own space, you know. I feel like I also truly believe, as just as much as like I obviously, you know, we should support the strikes and everything, I also feel like our people are just so creative and they just work so hard, and like I genuinely think we're so hardworking and we're so passionate. Like we have, obviously we can talk about the bad all day, but I feel like I would love to also highlight, you know, I was telling Steph the last podcast that I wish we would talk more about the good qualities that we have as Latinos. And I just feel like we're so hardworking, so passionate, and we just love hard. And I feel like I don't doubt that someone can come up with like an amazing script, and then like there's like a videographer there somewhere that was willing to like film it and like, you know, just bring these like little movies to life. And I think that would be so sweet. Who knows? It just takes one person, right, to see it. To see it and be like, wait, this is amazing. Like,
and I think right now it's because of social media and everything, like it's so much easier to connect and have that kind of, and I didn't know that space was even open. Like, I think when I started doing the podcast and people started like recognizing me, like I have a friend from the gym, his name's Gabe, shout out to Gabe. He makes like films, and like when I like looked him up on Instagram, he had like a little soccer film, and I was like, dude, this is incredible. And I would have never known that about you because, you know, but I like you said, like I like to highlight too, because I think social media can be really overwhelming and like kind of, you know,
I need some lessons, man. Some video, like for video. Like, it just seems so scary.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to start. I would love to be more active on like my personal social media.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my goal.
So daunting for me, because I didn't grow up like making video content, and also I was like shy in front of the camera, so which is why like doing a podcast was like, okay, cool. Like, I can wet my feet.
I was listening to your podcast and you guys were saying how you got into podcasting because there's no video, it's just voice. But then when you guys starting on your YouTube journey, you're like, no, I have to get ready now.
That's what we used to think. We'd be like, oh, we got to dress up every time. What are you wearing? How are we going to do it?
No,
and now we're like, fuck it.
Today I'm
now
ready.
You got your cooler, like what you drinking.
I'm over here my smoothie and shit.
Today was just special occasions. I'm not ready, but if you would look back on my other videos,
like sometimes
I just throw in a little something, you know, call it a day. But honestly, even me, you know, I resonated with what you said earlier about being shy, and like, well, for me, I think it was more just fear of being seen and judged. I learned at a very young age that, you know, when you put yourself out there in any way, you're opening yourself up to criticism, and that was always extremely hard for me because I had a very critical mother who's already like bashing on me at home, so I couldn't take on more like bashing in like a school setting or anything. So I never tried for cheerleading, even though I really wanted to. I never tried for volleyball, even though I really wanted to. I never tried for the drama club, even though I really wanted to. And I would I would go to the volleyball games. I would go to like the little plays that the drama thing would put on. And I would always support, and I would always sit in the crowd, and I would just feel this bittersweet like feeling in me that I was like so happy watching it because I loved it, but so incredibly sad that I never had like the courage to do it. So being in this space now is kind of like super healing, that I'm allowing myself to be seen, allowing my voice to be heard. And but I still feel the anxiety when I try to do more, because obviously I'm alongside Steph, so it makes it easier doing it with you. And this is pre-recorded, so if I mess up, I can delete, whatever, you know what I mean? It's like there's so many things that are comforting about this, but when you actually do it alone, like creating my own personal content has been very challenging. Actually, I haven't even started, and it's just like it's daunting. It's daunting, and I think it takes a lot of like, I don't know, a lot of like pep talking and a lot of like reparenting for me to even put myself, like, for me, baby steps have been like talking to the camera and posting a video on my story. Like that has been like my baby steps.
Yeah,
like feeling
and that's
seen.
the thing. It's like, dude, like what are those baby steps, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you don't have to go from 0 to 100.
0 to 100. And that used to be my mentality.
We think about that, and so that makes it so overwhelming. So we don't take the baby steps.
Yeah. How long have you been doing the podcast for?
4 years.
Oh, okay, a long time.
Yeah. And but like for the first few years, it was kind of like, like at first it was like we would release every so often, like not consistently, and then we're like, okay, let's try, and then we moved up to every 2 weeks. So it's been a journey from like really formalizing it, and then finally we joined a network, and so then they're like, all right, well, if like y'all can take breaks, but when you're on, you got to release every week. So now we have like a weekly schedule. So it's been like a journey to get to a point where
100%,
like it's more formal and like for sure. But yeah, it's been 4 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
And honestly, TikTok has been super like instrumental in our pod getting like the attention. Definitely.
We haven't really used TikTok.
I would urge you guys, honestly, like,
okay, I'm gonna take
super,
maybe I'll hire, maybe
helpful.
we could hire each other.
Oh yes,
life coach, and then y'all can help me create video content. Help this millennial. I don't know if y'all are millennials.
I don't know.
I have no fucking idea. What's the cut off?
I think 96 is still millennial. 97 is Gen starts
Peace
Gen
the fuck
Z.
out, Gen Z.
I'm Gen Z. I'm 97.
I'm 96.
Okay, so you're on the cusp. Do you kind of feel like that?
Kind of.
Like you feel kind of on the cusp, like you're like, oh, like
I really don't actually. I feel like Gen Z. I just don't.
So you feel more like a millennial.
100%. I don't think I can relate to Gen Zers as much.
Yeah.
Even just with
you feel like a millennial.
Yeah, even like slang wise, like I try to get into. I'm like, oh shit, like I'm too old for that shit.
And
I can't be
also
talking like
you've
that.
always told me that you've always been connected more to your Latino culture, like Spanish novelas, Spanish movies, Spanish music. So I feel like in general that also took from you.
I think so.
Being able to relate a lot to this kind of this generation.
Yeah, I think like this, I guess patriotism towards Mexico, I've always had it. So I think a lot of Gen Zers are trying really hard to connect with like their Hispanic roots, which I love, or Latino roots.
Gotcha, but they're like trying anywhere.
Not even like just trying, where like something that just felt really natural to me, seeing it, like kind of like what I said, like about speaking Spanish, like to me, I just think I'd never had really that culture shock because I think here in the IE, like there's so much Latino where it was like they, I think, almost migrated from LA, that they were like, okay, we're already kind of established here, let's move over here. So when I got here, it was just like, oh, okay, everyone's kind of the same, and we all speak Spanish, and because I feel like for the most part here, it's majority Latinos.
And I love that.
Yeah, I do love that. So I think I never had that disconnect where I think I felt like I had to, go back to my, like, I've always been connected to my roots. So I think that's really helped me kind of not necessarily, I guess, need the trends or not trends, but like times change and whatever. And I'm always like, oh, cool. Like, I love that you guys are doing that now, because I've been doing this. So it's it's nice that we're connecting in this way now. And I feel like with millennials, it's a little bit more of that because it's like first gen. Yeah. Because I'm first gen, but so I feel like it's easier to connect in that way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but even like when I sometimes I talk to people that they're like, oh, I'm not really connected, and then I speak to them and I like listen to their life story and their experience.
Are you sure?
I'm like, dude, you 100% are. You just don't realize it, I guess. But I feel like you are. I love it though. I have always loved. But I think it was that my mom was very. When we would go every summer, same thing, we would spend it in Mexico. My mom got me like a Spanish teacher. I always loved reading, so I try to get into like reading in Spanish, and like with novelas and everything. I was always just more connected to that part of me than the American side of me.
Feel that.
Which was nice. I liked it. But again, it was also confusing because I was a fresa.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like, people would be like, oh, you go to Mexico and you have horses and shit. And I'm like, no, that's not me. I'm a city girl, which is conflicting, like, especially on screen, like some of the things that they portray, I'm like, oh, that wasn't me. Like, I didn't have that kind of experience. I had more of like a
more city
vibe. Yeah.
Sure.
And we're from the coast. Hey, I'm so excited you're from Nayarit.
But I feel you because we're from the coast and then from Mexico City, so like also kind of more,
Yeah.
not as much of a rancho.
Your mom is from Tepic or like a surrounding pueblo or something like that?
Tepic.
Oh, okay, nice.
So city.
Yeah,
not as big city as Mexico City, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. City, so, yeah. I love Tepic. It's so beautiful. Everybody should go.
Yeah, low key.
No, I really do. I love Nayarit. And like my mom is from like a little pueblito around. But again, it's like on the way to the beach. So it's still pretty nice. Yeah.
No, it was honestly so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I loved it so
much. I love
much.
taking my friends.
And they have a drive-through bar over there, you guys. It was lit.
30-30.
Well, let me
know when you go in. I'll let you maybe.
We could meet up over there. Oh my gosh. If I told my mom you have an Airbnb, she'd be like, tell her to send us the link. Like,
yeah, for real.
My mom literally just came from there and she's like, I feel so relaxed. And she's like, let's go back.
Like, I'm serious.
No, me too. Oh my gosh.
I'll hook you up with my discount.
Yeah.
But
friends and family discount.
I'm gonna have to use that. Stephanie just got a house built out there, so
my mom just finished building her house. Yeah,
that's such a beautiful thing to be able to like build in Mexico.
Yeah,
no, but I'm really gonna take you up on that discount. Don't forget. And that's cool. That I think that's another thing about you being like an Airbnb host, that you can offer that,
yeah,
like you have that like luxury of staying in your own home, but also like giving that commodity to your friends and family,
sure. Especially when they're visiting, they're like, shit, where do I stay? Like, how do I even find a location? With people especially that don't travel as often, it can be overwhelming being like, fuck, like what's a good area, where do I stay, how do I get there?
I think my favorite, honestly, because I've always said that one of the ways I want to build generational wealth is by becoming like a property owner and like buying like homes and renting them out and stuff like that. But I'm like, oh, you know what? Let's say there's a special home that means something to me and I don't necessarily want to rent it out forever. Like if I ever want to stay on it, like I think Airbnb is a cool choice, right? Because like I can make a little bit of side income, but also stay in the house myself whenever I want to, especially if it's like in a very like a place I want to go to often. Who knows? Like maybe like
no, and it's so beautiful how you were saying like it's your home and you want to share that, because I think sometimes people are a little more on guard with their house, where they're like, no, I don't want anybody to mess it up. But I really love my homes. Like we have a house here and we have the house in Mexico, and I'm such a have you seen Encanto?
Yeah, of course.
Like how she's connected to her house, that's how I feel about my houses. Like I just think my houses are like this thing that I hold very dear to me.
Yeah.
And I've always thought of that, like, oh my gosh, like I feel like my house is really nice. We could rent it out.
Yeah.
But I was always skeptical because I was like, what if they don't love my home as much as I love my home? So hearing you say like how your dad planted trees and stuff like that, like that's really beautiful. That's a really nice connection.
Love that.
I got so emotional.
This is such a sweet episode, you guys. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you guys.
I'm glad this worked out, like it's just like how this happened. Like I'm like, okay,
thank you so much for making the drive.
It was cool. I got to be in Riverside today, so like I worked so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna leave at like 12:30 because I'm not trying to be in traffic. So I just posted up at a coffee shop in Riverside. So it was like cute to be in Riverside
back.
Again, so. Yeah, but I appreciate the time with y'all. And
no, thank you so much for coming on. Do you want to plug in your podcast, your socials?
I'm so bad at that, but yes. So I got a podcast, Tamarindo Podcast. We drop episodes weekly. We talk about all the things, cultura, politics, obviously well-being and self-development. I just want all my people to be like healthy, doing what they want to, truly what they want to do, not what
not what society tells you to do.
And then I also have a workplace wellness company, but we also do group coaching, individual coaching, so we can do stuff for your organization or for you, and that's called Bask and Being. So to bask and to be.
Oh, okay. Love.
And that's a website?
That's a website. So baskandbeing.com. You can see like all of our services. And actually we're starting a 6-week coaching program next month. So that'll be on the website. So
sign up for that, you guys. If it calls to you, if you resonate, check it out for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for joining us. I had a great time.
Yeah, I can't believe I cried like in 10 minutes in. So fuck.
That's how I know it was a good one.
I know, I came in so emotional.
All right, besties. Thank you so much for joining us. Love you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Love you.
Bye.